ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतेरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। ओमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Welcome all to our Saturday satsang. So tomorrow is a very important day. It's Balaram Purnima, appearance day of Lord Balaram. So today we're going to hear about the glories of Lord Balaram. So it's a very important topic, very important topic for anybody who wants to make progress in Krishna consciousness. So before we start, so we're going to first sing glories of Lord Balaram as given by Sri Jayadev Goswami in his Dashavatara Stotra. So Jayadev Goswami, one of the acharyas, so he gave one verse each for each of the 10, the more famous common 10 Leela avatars of Krishna. So Balaram is also considered as one of the avatars. Actually, we don't consider Krishna as the avatar, we consider Balaram as avatar. Because Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Okay, so this is, you might be aware of this. One second, let me see if I can pull this up on the screen. Dashavatara Stotra. Okay, yeah. Where is this? Rama Sharira Haladara Rup. Okay, so let me just project this so that you can also follow the wordings. Okay, so we are reading this specifically. वह शिव पुषि विषदेवसनं जलताभम् हलहति भीतिमिलितयमुनाभम् केशवद्रीता हलधररूपा जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे। वह शिव पुषि विषदेवसनं जलदाभम् हलहति भीतिमिलितयमुनाभम् केशवद्रीता हलधररूपा जय जगदीश हरे, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Jagadish Hare. So this is a glorification of Lord Balaram. So it says, Vahasi. Vahasi means you wear. You wear. Vahasi, Vapushi. Vishade. Vapushi means white body. Body. Vapushi is body. Vishade is white, brilliantly white body. You wear a brilliantly white body, which means that you have a brilliant white body. Vasanam. Vasanam is garments. Jalada Abham. Jalada Abham is color of fresh blue rain cloud. It's raining outside here, so you can see fresh blue rain cloud. Halahati. Halahati is due to striking of your plow. Plow. Hala, right, which is used for agriculture. Bhiti, who feels great fear. Milita. Bhiti Milita is, she felt great fear. Who? Yamuna Abham. The river Yamuna appeared. Keshava, O Lord Keshava. Keshava means actually one who has fine hair, very nice hair. So he's called Keshava. Keshava Dhrita Haladhara Rupa, who has accepted Haladhara. He is holding the bow, plow, Hala. He's holding the plow and who accepted the form of Haladhara, which is Lord Balaram. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. So the translation is, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Balaram, the one who holds the plow, all glories to you. On your brilliant white body, you wear garments the color of fresh blue rain cloud. These garments are colored like the beautiful dark hue of the river Yamuna, who feels great fear due to striking of your plowshare. So describing the white body of the Lord, he is wearing blue garments, and that river Yamuna, in one of the pastimes, she becomes greatly fearful due to Balaram. So he is glorified this way, and we will discuss some of these pastimes based on how much time we have. So first we will understand who Balaram is. Actually so we are now reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 5, verse 4. It says, Sarvavatari Krishna Swayam Bhagavana Tanhara Dvitiya Deha Shri Balarama. Sarva Avatari Krishna. Who is Krishna? He is Sarva Avatari. Avatara, Avatari. Avatara means one who incarnates. Avatari means from whom everything comes, from whom all incarnations come. So he is the Avatari, Sarva Avatari. Who is Sarva Avatari? Krishna Swayam Bhagavana. Krishna is the Swayam Bhagavan. He is the actual personality of Godhead. Tanhara Dvitiya Deha. His Dvitiya Deha, second body, is Sri Balarama. So we have to understand actually, so Krishna is Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is Parama Ishvara. So he is the original person, Krishna. Now every avatara or anything, actually let's say anything that is there in the material or spiritual world is coming from Krishna. Okay, anything that is there in the material or spiritual world is coming from Krishna. All the avatars that we hear, which are called incarnations. Avatara actually in Sanskrit means coming down. Why they are called avatara? Because they come down from the spiritual world to the material world. So they're called avatara. So all the incarnations, apart from Krishna, everything else, everybody else is coming from Krishna. All the incarnations are coming from Krishna. He's Sarva Avatari. So which are all the incarnations? So popularly we know of this Dashavatara, which say Rama, Parshurama, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Vamana, etc. All of these are coming from Krishna. Actually, in appearance of Krishna, they say when Krishna appeared, all the incarnations are actually in the body of Krishna. They all enter the body of Krishna. So how can we understand this? So you might have heard of this Brahma Vimohana Leela, right? When Krishna, Brahma actually suddenly he wants to test Krishna's prowess, and he wants to see, who is this boy? Is he really my Lord? So then to test his prowess, so what Brahma does is he steals the cows and cowherd boys and everybody. He steals them, right? And he hides them somewhere in in the sky somewhere. And then Krishna sees, oh, okay, where are the cows? Where are the cowherd boys? Nobody is seen. Now, how will he go back to Vrindavan? What will he tell parents of all these cowherd boys? So Krishna then what he does, he expands himself. He expands himself into each of these boys, cows, calves, everything, and exactly the same quality, exactly the same characteristics, exactly the same looks, the same voice, the same color of the hair, etc., etc., etc. Exact replica of those individuals. So Krishna expanded himself even as the calves, the cows, etc. And when they all went back to the village, and then suddenly all the parents of these cohort boys, they're feeling more love towards their children than before. That is because they were not their children, but were actually Krishna, and they all had so much love for Krishna. So Krishna expanded himself. Now, when this Leela was over, all of those forms again came back into the body of Krishna. Or when Krishna married 16,108 wives, actually when Narakasura, so he marries those 16,100 wives, at one shot, they are in 16,100 different rooms, and Krishna simultaneously enters all of them. And his form is slightly different based on the the physical appearance of that particular queen. So if somebody is tall, he's little bit tall. If somebody is fat, he's little bit fat, etc., etc. So that the match is good. So he just expands himself. So these are called Swayam Prakasha. And here, this is all called Swa Amsha. All his incarnations. Who are these incarnations? So the first incarnation is Balaram. So what is the difference between Krishna and Balaram? Krishna is white, Krishna is black, Balaram is white. That's it. There is no other difference. Okay, also one more thing we have to understand. So okay, Krishna is this is Achintya Beda. Krishna and Rama, are they two different persons or are they one person? So they are actually one person, but that one person, Krishna, is now taking on different forms with different characteristics. Okay, so when Krishna is Rama, he is Maryada Purushottam. When Krishna is Krishna himself, he is Leela Purushottam. So he chooses to display or highlight some of his characteristics more in one avatara than in the other. So this is technical, but we should understand there's only one person, Krishna. So from this Krishna, now first form that he expands himself is Balaram. Okay, so the difference between Krishna and Balaram is that one is black, the other is white. Okay, Balaram is only 15 days older than Krishna. Okay, so there are a few meanings to the name Balaram. Balaram also has the name Sankarshana. We'll explain why. Balaram also, in his name is the word Rama, which also we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So there's a verse which says Ramante Yogino Anante Satyananda Chidatmani iti Rama Padenasau Param Brahma Vidiyate. So the yogis, Yogino, they experience Ananta Satyananda, Ananta, unlimited transcendental pleasure. From whom? From Satyananda, from Satya, absolute truth, Parama Satya, from the Supreme Lord, personality of Godhead. Iti Ramapadena, so Param Brahma Abhidiyate. Param Brahma is the personality of Godhead. What is he called? Iti Ramapadena, so Rama. He is also known as Rama because yogis derive unlimited pleasure from the Supreme Absolute Truth Lord, Supreme Lord Krishna. So he is also called Rama, means giver of pleasure. So they are the same, but they are different. This is the philosophy that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us, which is called Achintya Bheda Bheda. It is inconceivable to understand. And every avatar of Krishna has a reason why Krishna takes a particular form. So Krishna takes the form of Balaram because Balaram is always in the mood of service. Balaram is the first servant of Krishna. So Balaram is always in the background. He doesn't want to come to the foreground. He's always in the mood of service. In this material world, what is it we want to become? We all want to become masters. But in the spiritual world, everybody wants to become a servant. Balaram is a servant of Krishna. Krishna himself wants to become a servant. He wants to become servant of his devotees. He serves his devotees. Everybody wants to become servants except we fallen souls. We have fallen from the spiritual world, where in the spiritual world everybody wants to serve, but in the material world we want to be served. But Balaram teaches us how to serve Krishna. So that is why this Balarama Tattva is very, very important. Okay, now before going forward, one last piece of technical information before we expand. Okay, so Balaram expands in 5 forms. Balaram expands himself in 5 forms. Okay, this is just so that we know. So first one is Mahasankarshana. This Mahasankarshana is from whom all the Purusha avatars come. Purusha avatars are Karanodakashaya Vishnu, who is the Mahavishnu, who is lying on the causal ocean, from whose bodily pores come out all these material universes. So he creates the material universes from his body. So Karanodakashaya Vishnu, then Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, who is again Mahavishnu, he expanding or entering into each and every universe, and then he lies on Ananta Shesh there. I will explain who Ananta Shesh is. And from his navel comes Brahma, and Brahma does the secondary creation. So this is Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. And third is Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. Kshirodakashaya Vishnu is one who enters into each and every atom. So he is there in our hearts. He's called Paramatma or Antaryami. Okay, so Mahasankarshana, Karanodakashaya Vishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. Finally, he is also called as Shesha. Shesha he's called Ananta Shesha also. This Shesha is actually responsible for doing personal service to Krishna. Ananta Shesha, he does personal service to Krishna. So he's his bedstead. So where does Lord sleep? He sleeps on Ananta Shesha. When Krishna appeared, we will discuss this next weekend, because next 30th is Janmashtami, right? So Ananta Shesha, when Vasudeva is carrying Krishna on in the basket, and he's carrying him from Mathura to Vrindavan, it's raining cats and dogs, and Ananta Shesha comes and covers Vasudeva and Krishna with his hoods so that they don't get drenched. So Ananta Shesha is always there to offer personal service to Krishna. Now the other expansions forms that we talk about, Mahavarshana, Mahasankarshana, Karanodakashaya Vishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, etc., they all take care of material manifestations. Now also Balaram also expands as the spiritual world. So like this, Balaram actually takes various forms to serve the Lord. So this is very important. So first is that Balaram is serving Krishna in multiple ways. Okay, before we go further, Krishna and Balarama also have very specific duties that they do, when they are in Vrindavan. Krishna takes care of cows. because Nanda Maharaj is a Vaishya and Krishna takes care of cows. Okay, Krishi, Goraksha, Vanidya, Brahma, Vaishya Karma, Svavajam. Vaishnava, Vaishya has three main characteristics or occupations: Krishi, agriculture; Goraksha, co-production; Vanidya, commerce. Now, Krishi, Goraksha is taken care by Krishna, and Krishi or agriculture is taken care by Balaram because he has a plow, Hala. So he is called Haladhara, or he is also called the Farmacharya. Prabhupada said is the Farmacharya. So all our farm communities in ISKCON that are coming up are because of the strength of Balaram, because he is the Farmacharya. He wants to establish Varnashrama Dharma because that is the only platform on which cultured human beings can be trained. If there is no Varnashrama, there is no training for people and they become uncultured. So he is the Farmacharya and he takes care of agriculture. So this is a brief background. Now, Balaram, actually he's, like I said, the whole discussion, half of the discussion will be around how he serves and what is the importance of that. And the other half is about Lord Balaram's pastimes. Okay, so we will see how much we can cover. Balaram, now when Krishna appears in this mortal world himself, Swayam Bhagavan, Balaram is his brother, elder brother. Like I said, he's elder to Krishna. But when Krishna appears as Lord Rama, then Balaram appears as his younger brother, Lakshmana. And when Krishna appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just 500 years back, then Balaram appeared as Nitya Nandaram. So in different avatars, Balaram is accompanying Krishna in all these very important avatars. Okay. So like I said, Balaram's mode is of service. So we know that in Bhakti there are 5 Mukhya Rasas, main mellows or relations. How do we serve Krishna in what are the 5 main mellows? Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. These are the 5 main mellows or moods or relationships in which one can serve Krishna. So Shanta is where there is no active service, but there is recognition of the position of the Supreme Lord. Now, to serve in Shantarasa, Balaram, like I said, he expands himself as the spiritual world. Now, what is the spiritual world? Spiritual world is the playground for Krishna. That is where Krishna plays in the spiritual world with all his friends, gopas, gopis, etc. So, by expanding as the spiritual world, the Balaram is serving Krishna in Shantarasa. Then Dasya. Pretty much in all his pastimes, Balaram is there to assist Krishna in any way. Like, for example, when when they go to Mathura, then the Krishna if you see, Balaram is not in the forefront. Krishna is in the forefront. Krishna is in the center of everything. Even in Vrindavan, Krishna is in the center. Balaram is just helping, assisting in whatever is required. Mathura Leela also, like that Krishna is that washerman. Krishna does stuff, and Balaram is just there. Okay, then washerman is dead. Then he picks up all the clothes and he wears whatever is suitable for him, gives Krishna whatever is suitable for him, and etc. So he's always in the background. He's always serving Krishna. That is Dasya, servant mode. Sakhya. So in Goloka, every day morning after Krishna gets up, the first thing after he brushes his teeth, he brushes his teeth. And then all of them go to the barn to, for milking the cows. So in all his pastimes with mainly the Gopas, Balaram is there because Balaram is Krishna's friend. Wherever Krishna goes, Balaram also goes, mostly, except for 1 or 2 instances when he was not there for different reasons. So Balaram also Krishna milks cows. Krishna himself milks cows. Balaram also milks cows, and then after that they hand it over to the other Gopas who then continue to milk cows, and then after that, they go back home. Then they have breakfast. When they have breakfast, also Krishna, Balaram, Madhumangal, Sridham, they all sit with Nanda Maharaj on one big dining table, and Rohini Mata, Yashoda Mata, everybody serve. So Balaram is there also. Then after that, they all go with their, when they were young, they took the calves. When they were slightly older, they took the cows, and they went to Vrindavan to graze the cows. So then Balaram is there. And in all the games that Krishna plays, Krishna, Balaram, and all the cowherd boys, they engage themselves in so many types of games. So Bhagavatam actually has a very beautiful description of this. So many of these games we also play when we were, at least now I don't think anybody plays any of these games, but we also used to play many of these games like hide and seek and tug of war, and all these things. Krishna, Balaram, they all played these. So in all kinds of pranks, having fun with friends, etc., Krishna, Balaram, they're together. So Balaram is always there to assist Krishna in whatever is required. Of course, when most of the when most of the demons are killed, okay, so one just piece of information: there is no killing of demon. There are no demons in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, which is Goloka Vrindavana, there are no demons. Okay, so these demons appear only in the material world. Okay, and when they appear in the material world, mostly they are killed when along with their sakhas, with their friends. Most of the leelas. So Balaram is there with Krishna, and sometimes Balaram takes the lead in killing the asuras, which we'll discuss, and in other cases Krishna kills, and Balaram is just there in the background for anything required. So all these kind of pastimes, Krishna, Balaram, they are always together. This is Sakhya. This is the third rasa. Then fourth rasa is Vatsalya. Vatsalya is parental. Parental mode means first is protective mode. So Balaram is always there to protect Krishna. Yashoda sends Krishna out to the forest only because Balaram is there. She says, okay, Balaram is there, okay, you take Krishna. Take care of him nicely. And one Leela when Balaram is not there is Kaliya Leela. When Balaram actually is not there, when Krishna and all the cowherd boys go to the Yamuna, and then Krishna takes on Kaliya, then Balaram is not there because that day Rohini and Balaram would have gone to some relative's house. So he is always there, generally protecting. Yashoda is very confident that she sends Krishna, only Balaram is there mostly, except for this Leela. And then Balaram also, because like parental mood, he also wants to instruct and chastise Krishna. So when Rukmini is abducted, or Krishna takes her in front of all the other princes and takes her away, then Rukmini, who is Rukmini's brother, he wants to avenge. And so he follows Krishna and Rukmini, and of course Krishna, Balaram is also there, and then they have their army, etc. Rukmini makes a vow saying that I'm going to finish off Krishna, otherwise I'm not going to come back to my capital. So he goes, and then he's defeated. He's badly defeated by Krishna. And then of course Krishna doesn't want to kill Rukmini because he just now abducted Rukmini, so she's his wife, and Rukmini is Rukmini's brother. He doesn't want to kill Rukmini, brother-in-law. So then what he does is he gives him a very fancy haircut. So he cuts Rukmini's hair abruptly, like randomly all over his head. And Balaram becomes Balaram wants to chastise, because just that day, Rukmini is coming home, and then Krishna is like disrespecting Rukmini. So Balaram then instructs and chastises Krishna. You should not have done this like this. This is not correct. As the elder brother, parental mood. So like this, he is serving Krishna always as in Vatsalya. And then in Madhurya, he serves as Ananga Manjari, who is actually the younger sister of Radharani, Srimati Radharani. So he serves Krishna in Madhurya Rasa. So like this, Balaram is serving Krishna in all the 5 rasas and is present always with Krishna. So he serves Krishna without personal desires. Ahituki apratihata. He also serves without any reason. No reason to serve Krishna, just for the pleasure of Krishna. And apratihata. There is no end to Balaram's serving Krishna. So that is why Krishna, Balaram is called Adi Guru. Is Adi Guru. What is Adi Guru means? First Guru. Why is considered Guru? What is the role of a Guru? Guru is one who teaches how to serve Krishna. So Balaram is, by his actions, he is showing how to serve Krishna. That is why he is called Adi Guru, and it is Balaram who infuses bala, not physical bala, spiritual bala, spiritual strength. He infuses spiritual strength into Guru through the parampara. So he is the original Guru Tattva. So he is also called Adi Guru. So like I said, so he is the source of spiritual strength. Spiritual strength comes in via the parampara through the current Guru. So which is why, when we talk about initiation, Diksha. Why initiation, Diksha? Because we get connected to the parampara. Then that becomes a source for, or the path for us to get spiritual strength. What is spiritual strength? Krishna actually in the end of 3rd chapter, he says that, how do we overcome lust? He says by spiritual intelligence and spiritual strength. So what is lust? Lust is just this propensity to enjoy this material world independent of Krishna, just gratify our senses. This is lust. And how do we overcome lust? By spiritual strength. Who is the source of spiritual strength? He is Balaram. So he is doing 2 things. One is he is teaching us how to serve Krishna, which is what Guru does. The whole idea of initiation is Diksha Kare, Bhakta Kare, Atma Samarpan. When we surrender ourselves to the Guru, Guru teaches us how to serve Krishna. Actually, in our Mangalarti we sing, right? Glorify the Guru. She's saying, that the Guru actually is teaching the disciples how to do archanam, how to decorate the deity, how to do worship, how to clean the temple, etc., etc. So Guru actually teaches the disciple how to serve Krishna. So that is coming through Balaram and the spiritual strength. Why do we need spiritual strength? Because if we want to make spiritual progress, we need spiritual strength. Otherwise, like Krishna tells Arjuna, Hridaya Daurbalyam Tyaktotishta Parantava. Hridaya Daurbalyam. We have weakness of heart. Weakness of heart for what? Not physically. We have weakness of heart because of material desires. We are in this material world and we still want to enjoy material desires in this material world. But Krishna consciousness and material desires can't go together. They are opposite ends. Krishna consciousness means no material desires, only spiritual desires. No, it's not that no desire. We don't become desireless. We develop spiritual desires. So we have to make spiritual progress, so for which we have to overcome these material desires, for which we require spiritual strength. And some people say, no, Balaram also means physical strength. Yeah, of course, Balaram has immense physical strength, but we can't make spiritual progress by physical strength. Then even a buffalo could have made spiritual progress, right? But it's not true. So it is only by spiritual strength that we can make progress. Now, some might say, no, I'm actually praying to Balaram, but I am not making any progress. No, why? Because we don't have a desire to make progress. We are simply lip service. We are doing lip service. If we are sincere and we take shelter of Balaram, then Balaram means we take shelter of Balaram, means we take shelter of Guru, then he gives us mercy. And what is this mercy? Mercy is to follow rules and regulations of bhakti. There are do's and don'ts in bhakti which we have to strictly follow. Some people say, no, it's okay, kuch bhi chalta hai, anything is okay. No, anything is not okay. If anything is okay, like I said, buffalo could also become spiritually advanced. No, there is a particular process that has to be followed. There are rules and regulations, and we need to follow it. So the mercy of the Guru, the mercy of Balaram means the strength to follow these rules and regulations. So we have to surrender to the Guru so that we can take his instructions, follow the rules and regulations, make progress so that we can finally serve Krishna very purely. So without Balaram's mercy, we can't attain Krishna. Now we'll briefly read about the appearance of Balaram from the 10th canto, 2nd chapter, verse 8. Okay. Devakya jatare garbham sheshakyam dhama mamakam tatsannikrishya rohinya udare sanniveshaya. So it is said, within the womb of Devaki is my partial plenary expansion known as Sankarshana or Shesha. Without difficulty, transfer him into the womb of Rohini. So a little bit of history here. So Rohini is also one of the wives of Vasudeva. Now Vasudeva is obviously, Kamsa is giving a lot of trouble to so many people. Vasudeva is worried. So various wives of Vasudeva take shelter in different places, and Vasudeva sends Rohini to Nanda Maharaj's house so that she can be under the protection of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata. So when Rohini goes to Brajadham, she's actually 3 months pregnant. Okay. Then of course when she goes, and then all the Brajavasis look at her, and she's such a very loving personality that everybody just becomes so happy by seeing her amidst their midst. And then Yashoda is also very happy because she got a very close friend, and they're and then days pass on. Then it is now the 7th month of Rohini's pregnancy, and same time it is time for Devaki to deliver her 7th child. So far Devaki has given birth to 6 children, all of whom are killed mercilessly by Kamsa. And now there is a slight little history to this, which I'm not going to go into too much of detail, but simply just in 30 seconds, Marichi is son of Brahma, and Marichi's sons make fun of Brahma when at one point of time he actually goes behind his own daughter that he had created. He goes behind her with sexual inclination. So then these sons of Marichi, they mock at Brahma, and because of that offense, so they are born as children of Hiranyakashipu, and then after that they are born as children of Kalanemi, and their curse is that they should be killed by their own father. So Kalanemi in his next birth becomes Kamsa. Okay, so they had to be killed by Kamsa, and they had to be born and get killed. So they were born through the womb of Devaki. They are also called Shad Garbhasuras, which we will not discuss today. And so they are born, and as soon as they are born, Kamsa kills them. Now, after these, like disastrous, sinful people, these are sinful souls who are born in the womb of Devaki. Devaki's body is now, in some sense, contaminated. Okay. Now, before Krishna appears, this place has to become pure. We know that if Krishna has to appear, only appears when there is Shuddha Sattva. And so that is why he enters the heart of Vasudeva, and then before he can be transferred to Devaki's body has to be purified. So though Balaram is eternally Rohini's son, so ideally Balaram, even when this Bhauma Leela, which means that the pastime on earth happens, Ideally, Balaram wants to be born from the womb of Rohini. But now, before that, there is service for him. See, before his appearance, also there is service. What is the service? To purify the body or womb of Devaki. So, what actually Balaram does? Balaram first enters Devaki's womb as this seventh, as her seventh pregnancy. He first enters Devaki's womb, and then he, like I was saying, Balaram expands into 5 forms. One of the forms is Shesha. Like I said, Shesha does personal service to Krishna. So Balaram enters the womb of Devaki and leaves Shesha there to purify the place, set up, the bedstead for Krishna and sitting place, etc., everything, so that Krishna can appear in Devaki's body. And then now it is time, all that is done. Now Balaram wants to now go to Rohini's womb, because Rohini is 7 months pregnant. And so here also it is the 7th month, baby in the 7th month. So Yogamaya, so Krishna is telling now Yogamaya, saying that within the womb of Devaki, Sankarshana or Shesha is there. Now you transfer him to the womb of Rohini. So Yogamaya now transfers Balaram from Devaki's womb to Rohini's womb. So that is the 7th month. And then in the month called Shravana, constellation Shravana, and constellation is Shravana, Balaram is born from Rohini in Vrindavan, in Gokul. And there's description about his beautiful form when Balaram is born. He's born like a full moon, white, shining whiteness. His face is like a beautiful moon, round and white. And his eyes are like lightning. His hair is described as like compared to rain cloud, and his complexion like white autumn cloud. And he's bright like the sun. And this beautiful baby comes from the womb of Mother Rohini. Now, what happens after Balaram appears? No, there is no Krishna. Krishna has still not appeared. So Balaram is very dull. There's no enthusiasm. He's like, when is Krishna coming? When is Krishna coming? Because he's very dull, but only once he becomes happy. Once, as in one situation, when he goes and sits on the lap of Mother Yashoda. Why? Because in the heart of Mother Yashoda is Krishna, about to come out very soon. Then only Balaram used to be very happy. Oh, okay, my Krishna is going to come. I'm going to serve him. So like this, Krishna, Balaram moves from the womb of Devaki into the womb of Rohini. Okay. Then, of course, then Krishna tells Yogamaya, saying that, okay, then I shall appear myself with all my full 6 opulences as son of Devaki. So, like I said, Krishna is also there in the heart of Yashoda, but Krishna also appears from the womb of Devaki. So this we will discuss next Saturday when we discuss Krishna Leela, because 30th is appearance of Krishna Janmashtami, appearance of Lord Krishna. And then he tells her, saying that you go and be born as the daughter of Yashoda. So Yashoda actually gives birth to 2 children, Krishna and Yogamaya. And then Krishna tells, saying that, okay, you are going to become famous as Kali, Durga, Chandi, etc. So that is the energy of Krishna. And then the description about the different names of Balaram. So Krishna says, son of Rohini will also be celebrated as Sankarshana. Sankarshana means attraction. So, because of being sent from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, he got attracted to the womb of Rohini because she is his eternal mother. So he's also given the name Sankarshana. And like I said, he's also given the name Rama because he gives pleasure. He gives pleasure to his devotees. He gives pleasure to all the inhabitants of Gokul. And he is also called Balabhadra because he also has excessive physical strength. Okay, so this is the appearance of the Lord. Now, maybe because we have only 10 minutes, so I will discuss very briefly all the different pastimes in which Balaram plays a part. Of course, when Balaram and Krishna and Balaram become, they are slightly grow up and they can actually walk by themselves, etc. They play in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj by holding on to the tails of all these calves, and then the calves start running and like skiing, like ice skiing. They do skiing holding on to the tails of the calves, and then they trip and fall into the mud, and they're completely smeared with mud, and they are like they make all they give great bliss to Yashoda, Rohini, and Yashoda and Rohini are always behind Krishna and Balaram, concerned about their welfare, etc. Now the first Leela, which is Brahma Vimohana Leela, when like I said, Brahma becomes bewildered about the strength of Krishna. Actually, Krishna does this leela of expanding himself into the various cows and covered boys, etc. And Balaram is not aware of it at all. So though Balaram is, like I said, second body of Krishna, but Krishna is the original, right? So he is preventing even Balaram from knowing what had happened. And only few days before the 1 year passes, for 1 year the cowherd boys, calves, everybody are not, like Krishna expands himself and all of them for almost 1 year, and only some few days before this 1 year ends, Balaram comes to know. Balaram sees saying so much of extra affection that everybody is feeling towards these cowherd boys, towards the cows, towards the calves. Something is different. Then he's thinking, okay, how is it possible? This is possible only if these are themselves Krishna, because only Krishna is loved by everybody so much. Then Krishna tells him about what had happened, etc. So that is the first like major pastime as such. Then the one where Balaram himself is the main hero, right, is Dhenukasura, killing of Dhenukasura, the ass demon. So actually it is said Dhenukasura was a demon. He had taken a form of an ass, donkey, and also it is so this Dhenukasura also represents ignorance, complete ignorance of Shuddha Gnana, that we are actually servants of Krishna. So so he has to be killed. Dhenukasura has to be killed, which means that our ignorance of Shuddha Gnana, that I am part and parcel of Krishna, and I'm only his servant and nothing else, no sense gratification, no nothing, that knowledge is now covered by ignorance, and that ignorance is compared to or Dhenukasura represents that ignorance, and this Dhenukasura has to be killed. Now who kills this Dhenukasura? Balaram kills Dhenukasura. So this is a very nice pastime, but like I said, I don't have much time, so I'm going to just briefly walk over these. So there is a forest by name Talavan, and where there are beautiful palm trees and palm fruits. And once, all the cowherd boys, they're sitting with Krishna and Balaram, and cowherd boys express their desire. Actually, they want Krishna and Balaram to taste these fruits. But then they generally, cowherd boys generally put it across like it's their desire, because when they say that it's their desire, Krishna Balaram will want to do whatever to please them. So they say that there's this beautiful forest, nobody is allowed to go there because of this as demon Dhenukasura. So we would like to eat these fruits. Then they pray to Krishna Balaram. Balaram, you're so powerful. Can we taste these fruits? So then Balaram laughs, and then both Krishna and Balaram, they go along with the cowherd boys and the cows, everything. They go to the forest Talavan, and there is Dhenukasura. He's a donkey. So then, of course, then Dhenukasura, And then Balaram, Krishna, they all, boys are come here. They all like standing, putting, their hands on each other's shoulders, etc. And then they look at all these donkey demons, and Balaram is laughing heartily, looking at them. What kind of a form these asuras take? He's laughing heartily. Then, he's engaged in his own laughing. And then Dhenukasura comes and kicks with his hind legs. He kicks Balaram. See, Krishna Balaram's killing of the asuras is like a second. Now, I was thinking, first time when I was reading Bhagavatam, I said, like, what is this? It's not, when we see, materially, when you look at see a movie, there is so much of climax, hero, that has to fight and half an hour climax, and then finally the villain dies. Now, Krishna and Balaram, they are such heroes that killing of these demons is like this, like in one verse, 2 words, and then they're dead, right? Like, there's not much fight at all. So here also, basically, Dhenukasura kicks Balaram once, and then Balaram just smashes him once. That's it. And Dhenukasura is dead. So actually, we should also smash this Ajnana, the ignorance that we have of trying to be independently, trying to enjoy independent of Krishna by the strength of Balaram. Now, that is then the Kaliya Daman Leela. Krishna has to defeat Kaliya. Actually, that time, like I said, Balaram and Rohini are not in the house. So for the first time, Krishna actually goes out without Balaram. And then by the time this Kaliya Leela gets reported to the village, then Balaram has come back, and then he sees so much of tension. All the Brajavasis are so worried, distressed, etc. And he's just simply laughing. You don't know Krishna, don't worry. But he doesn't say anything. Then they all run from their houses to the banks of the Yamuna, and there's so much, and that lake where Kaliya was there, it's full of poison, and the fumes are coming out, and like it is said, no bird could fly over it because of so much of poisonous fumes. And when these Vrajavasis come, they look at Krishna. Krishna is stuck in the coils of the snake Kaliya, and they are they're so frantic. They think, no, we have to go and help Krishna, and they're all running into the lake which is full of poison. And Balaram then says, stop. No, don't go, don't worry, nothing will happen. So it said that for somebody he speaks and stops them, for others he physically holds them, and for others he just smiles at them and says, don't worry, Krishna, nothing will happen. So like this, Balaram actually stops all these Vrajavasis from entering that poisonous lake. And of course then, because he knew that Krishna is it's his pastime, he's going to come out, and he has some intention, something he wants to achieve, and he will. Of course, Krishna's intention was that he wanted to show off, and he's a big hero. Anyway, so this we'll discuss in the Krishna Leela. And then the next main asura is Pralambasura, whom Balaram kills. So Pralambasura, he comes as a cowherd. And he comes as a cowherd, and then he joins all the Krishna and Balaram, and they're playing some kind of a tug of war. And so then there are two teams, and Krishna splits them such that the Pralambasura is on his side, and then Balaram has, I think, Sridham on the other side, and they fight. And the whole idea was that whoever is defeated has to carry the person from the opposite side on their shoulder, and make one round or something like that. So then Krishna willingly makes his team to lose because he wanted Pralambasura to carry Balaram on his shoulder. So then Pralambasura picks up Balaram, puts him on his shoulder, and so he's running, but Balaram is so heavy. Demon is not able to carry him because he's taken a form of a cowherd boy. Then Pralambasura shows his real form, the Asura form. And then Balaram looks at him, saying that, oh, he's a demon. And then one blow on his head with his fist, and then Pralambasura's head is shattered, and he just dies. So this Pralambasura is compared to our what we do as show off in bhakti, as in we just make a show of devotion while internally we maintain material greed. This is Pralambasura. This kind of attitude is Pralambasura represents this kind of attitude. So we should not be hypocritical. We should do bhakti sincerely to please Krishna, and we should very willingly take out all the nonsense material anarthas that are there in our heart. And for this, and this is one of the big obstacles for devotees, both this agnana and this material desires, material greed. Agnana is the starting point, which is Dhenukasura represents him, and Pralambasura represents this material greed and show of devotion. Both of these have to be killed by the mercy of Lord Balaram. Okay. Subsequently, Balaram, then when Kamsa's killing has to happen, Balaram fights with Mushtika and Krishna fights with Chanura. And then again, very simply, he just beats Mustika, and Mustika just vomits blood after, you know, some little bit of fighting, and then he's dead. Then other warriors, other wrestlers come, Kuta, Shala, Toshala. They're all killed by Krishna and Balaram. And then Balaram also kills Kamsa's 8 brothers. Kamsa has 8 brothers who attack Krishna and Balaram, but Balaram very easily kills them with his club. So this is the other pastime. This one interesting pastime, and then we'll maybe end. Balaram has 2 wives. One is Varuni, and the other is Revati. Now this marriage, how Revati marries Balaram is very interesting. Actually, Revati, so there is a king by name Revata, or actually his name is Kakudmi. So they are from a previous yuga. Kakudmi and Revati are from a previous yuga. So we know that, you know, among the 4 yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali, now each one, the size of the body, everything also shrinks in size. Like dharma shrinks, the size also shrinks. Like trees are very tall in Satyuga, Treta Yuga, then they become smaller. In Kali Yuga, they're very small, like that. So Revati was very tall because she was coming from a previous yuga. Now Kakudmi was looking for a good groom for his daughter, and not finding anybody, then he decided, saying that that he'll go to Lord Brahma. So they both Kakudmi and I think he also takes Revati, and yeah, both of them, they go to Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma is engaged in hearing some musical performance, some Gandharvas are doing something, etc. And he did not, he had to wait for some time till the musical performance were ended. And then, of course, both of them offer obeisances to Brahma, and then he says, you know, can you suggest who's there whom, you know, my daughter has to marry? Then Brahma laughs. Oh, what is this? You waited for this much time. Now, by this time, actually, 27 Chaturyugas have passed, which means because the time in Brahmaloka and time on this earthly planet are different. So the amount of time that he waited there, 27 Chaturyugas, is a long time. So he said, like, none of those people whom you knew exist now. They're all gone. So then Kakudmi is like very disappointed. Like, then what should I do? Please suggest. Then Brahma says, okay, Baladev is there. He's descended to the material world. He's there. He's the supreme personality of Godhead. So your daughter is fit to be given to him in charity. So then, Brahma, Kakudmi comes and requests Baladev, saying that, you know, can you marry my daughter? Then Balaram looks at her daughter, like she's standing taller than him. How can he marry somebody who's taller than him? Right. So then what he does is, before the previous day of the marriage, he uses his hala, his plow, and then he pulls her down. He pulls her down, and so from that height, tall stature, then she comes down to a particular height suitable for Balaram to marry, and then Balaram marries. So, and 1 or 2 more, actually, yeah, just 2-3 pastimes we'll quickly go over. whoever has time can please stay over. We get Balram Jayanti Balram Purnima only once a year, so just maybe another 5 minutes. Then Balaram actually first Balaram he is protected Rukmi, right? Or he advises Krishna saying no, you should not have disrespected Rukmi like this. But later what happens is Aniruddha. Aniruddha is Krishna's son. So Aniruddha's wedding, so everybody is in Rukmi's palace. It's in a place called Bhojakata. Then Rukmi challenges Baladev to a game of dice, because Rukmi is an expert in dice, and they know that Balram doesn't play dice well. So then they are playing, and then the first time Rukmi plays, then he wins. But at one wager, Lord Baladev actually wins the match, but Rukmi doesn't accept defeat. And he simply is arguing, like trying to cheat Baladev. But there's a voice from a sky also which says no, Baladev has won. But before this, actually, when Rukmi had won the previous wager, he actually looks at Baladev and laughs, with showing all his teeth, like disgustingly, humiliatingly. And now that was the first already misbehavior to the Supreme Lord. And then second time when he actually won, Baladev won, Rukmi is trying to cheat him. So Balaram becomes very angry, and just he strikes Rukmi dead with his club. That's it. Then another pastime is when Balaram visits Vrindavan, because after Krishna and Balaram leave Vrindavan and go to Mathura, Krishna has given a promise saying that I'm going to come back, but that time has still not come. So in the interim, actually Gopala Champu says Krishna and Balaram are always trying to come back, but Krishna would have given his word to his parents Vasudeva and Devaki, saying that he will be there to take care of his duty, which is to kill all those kings who are out there who are troubling this world. So he has to be there. He has some work, so he cannot come back. And once they would have asked Vasudeva and Devaki, saying that can we go? And Vasudeva and Devaki has said, no, you can't go. You be here for some more time. So Krishna doesn't want to overrule what his parents are saying. So they can't come. And every day Krishna and Balaram have this discussion. How can I go? What should I do? And so finally Balaram says, okay, you be here. I will go and come. My mother will give permission. So he takes permission from his mother, and then he goes to Vrindavan. Of course, then he meets all his Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, all his cohort friends, etc., etc. And then it's a very it's a very nice time. So he spends 2 months, and then of course, like Krishna has his own gopi friends, Balaram also has his own gopi friends, and he does his Rasa Leela, etc. And once he likes this Varuni. Varuni is like a honey-like beverage. Okay, it is intoxicating, because if you drink too much of honey, it intoxicates. And so that is his favorite drink. So he drinks this Varuni. It's called liquor, but it's not like alcoholic type, right? But it's just intoxicating. He drinks this Varuni liquor, and then he's wandering around, etc. Then he wants to take bath in the Yamuna, and Yamuna says, no, I'm not coming, because he thinks, what is this? Balaram is like drunk. Then of course, then he becomes angry, and then he takes his plow, and he's he's like, I'm going to split you. So then Yamuna, out of fear, then she appears. That is why in this first glorification that we said Yamuna, what is that? Yamuna be Nabam. What is that words? Milita, Bhiti Milita Yamunabham. Bhiti Milita Yamunabham. So Bhiti Milita, mixed with fear, Yamuna appears in front of Balaram. So this was another pastime. And final one is with in the marriage of actually two more pastimes. One is marriage of Samba, who's also Krishna's son, and in that actually the Kauravas actually arrest Samba. Then because Samba wants to marry Lakshmana, and so then there is some disagreement, etc. So they hold him back. Then Balaram goes to get the bride and bridegroom, and then there is a conversation with the Kauravas. Actually, Balaram originally favored Kauravas, and Krishna was favoring Pandavas. Balaram also taught Duryodhana the art of club fighting. Whatever divine arrangement, he was favored Kauravas. But in this case, when Balaram comes and gives this message to the Kauravas actually disrespect him. And they also disrespect Ugrasena, who's the king, etc. And Balaram becomes very angry. What he does is he says, okay, now I'm going to I'm going to drag Hastinapura and merge, drown it in the Ganges. And he puts his plow on the land and he starts dragging. Then they all fall at his feet and they pray, "Oh Lord, please forgive us. We are so ignorant," etc. And apparently, even today, this when he pulls, so there's some slope kind of thing which is created apparently, and that is seen even today geographically. Then one last pastime is Balaram also kills Romaharshana Suta, who is actually the father of Suta Goswami, who is narrating Srimad Bhagavatam to the Shaunaka, the Rishis in Naimisharanya. It so happens that Romaharshana is, very well learned, etc., but he's not a Brahmana, he's a Suta. So he's sitting on the Vyasasana, and then, there are so many sages, etc., who are wanting to hear from him, etc., and they would have all blessed Romaharshana, saying long life and all that. And Balaram comes into the assembly, and generally it is etiquette that when somebody superior, and especially Balaram, Supreme Lord, has come, Romaharshana should have got up from his seat and offered him obeisances, etc., etc. But he just continues to sit on the speaker's seat, and he fails to maintain this etiquette. And this angers Balaram, and then just tip of a blade of a kusha grass, he just chops him, kills him, right? By touching, it says, Bhagavatam says, by just touching him with the tip of a blade of kusha grass. Then the assembled sages, they are very upset because actually they had, they feel bad. Okay, they had given blessing to Romaharshana to live a long life, and now he's gone. What do we do? Then Balaram says, okay, no problem. I can bring him back to life. And then the sages say, no, you're the Supreme Lord. You've done that. You can't undo it. But now, we had given him this bone of long life, etc. Then Baladev says, okay, one's own son takes birth. One son takes birth as one's own self. So son is the representative of the father, and so that is Suta Goswami. So Baladev actually gives his mercy to Suta Goswami, and Suta Goswami becomes a great Vaishnava. So like this, Lord was involved in so many pastimes. Actually, he has anger. We become purified of our lust and anger by thinking about his anger, because his anger is divine. And in Vrindavan, he's also called Dauji. Krishna Kanhaiya Dauji Ka Bhaiya. It's a famous song. That's how they call Krishna is called Kanhaiya, and he is Dauji Ka Bhaiya. Dauji is Balaram. So, and Srila Prabhupada actually, he introduced Balaram to the whole world by in his Krishna Balaram temple. He built one of its kinds, and the Krishna Balaram deities are in the center, and there is Radha, Shamsundar, and Gaur Nitai, but Krishna Balaram is there in the center. And so there are, of course, the glories of Lord Balaram is unlimited, but to whatever limited knowledge and to limited extent of my purification, I have tried to glorify Lord Balaram. And Balaram ji ki jai. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, we can discuss. Hare Krishna.